know big tech is scared when they're sending out messages like this one to their advertisers. Now, I don't just create YouTube videos. I actually run a lot of advertising on multiple platforms for my companies. I own 3, and PPC, pay-per-click advertising, is big business on the internet. Now, you may have heard of the Earn It Act, right? The Earn It Act. The problem with a lot of these bills in the United States and all across the world, to be frank, is they give them these crazy names like Patriot Act, Earn It Act, or some other goofy Build Back Better. But if you dig deep into the text, it is an actual nightmare. Today we're gonna break this down, how they're attacking your privacy, they're attacking your freedom. They've even got big tech scared. You know things are happening when big tech is scared. This was a 2020 bill, and it was attacking Section 230, a 1934 act/law that protected a lot of these big tech companies. But it goes much deeper beyond big tech. We're talking encryption. We're talking save the children. Let's break it down in operation. You gotta earn it. So this is not ideal. This situation keeps coming up, and we've got a lot of congressmen, congresswomen, and non-binary species that keep coming out and talking about, well, we can't have encryption because of the children. Like, imagine what would happen to the children. We've got non-binary blue M&Ms. We've got orange M&Ms with anxiety. We've got the green M&M just switched from high heels to the Stan Smith Adidas. So things are looking bright for our future. The problem we have in this cancel culture and in this goofy society is it's making the governments shockingly powerful. We're seeing what's happening all across the world. We see what happened in Australia. We see what happened in Canada, what's going on with the trucker movement. And we keep seeing these movements attack the people in the name of, I mean, we saw Justin Trudeau come out and disgrace humanity, talking about how the Freedom Convoy is Nazis and they're taking down monuments and statues. But he stood with he stood with all of the riots and all of the people looting and all of the people doing all this negative stuff back in 2020. Justin Trudeau wearing blackface, multiple times, but ultimately that's okay. But when they pump these bills in, like Build Back Better, which is the New World Order, or the Earn It Act, which is supposed to go after Section 230, but deep in there they want to make encryption illegal. Now, how would that work? How would it work if they made encryption illegal? Do they have any idea how bad things would be? Forget my privacy and your privacy. Forget our right to privacy and freedom and forget all those things, okay? Let's just set that aside for a second. This would destroy the internet. This would make companies unable to use the internet. Well, then in their brilliant plan, because the governments worldwide want to create winners and losers, the haves and have-nots. They get a pick. If you're on their team, if you're woke enough to be on their team, then the Earn It Act. Well, the Earn It Act wants to attack encryption. What if we give the governments a back door? What if we give them backdoor access? What if they give them the keys because they're the trustworthy government? So apps like, I don't know, WhatsApp, Signal, basically everything you use on the internet, the government would be able to go, oh, peekaboo, can you imagine? Could you imagine? Here's Joe Biden peeking into all your stuff, right? And it would be his entire team. It would be the IRS, the NSA, the FBI, and all these corrupt organizations. That's just here. It would be Scotland Yard. It would be Interpol. It would be all these places, right? They would be peeking into everything that everyone does. That's not going to work. And it's going to be in the name of the children. If you don't vote for this, you hate children. Listen, I've got 4 children. I definitely am all about the children. And if I could help any children anywhere at any time, I would. However, we cannot give up everything for these alleged children that they never saved. They never, I mean, if they cared about the children, don't you think they would have went all in on the Epstein-Maxwell case? And they did literally nothing. They prosecuted her. I don't need to tell these wokeism how things work, but I'm guessing Maxwell was the setup person for these rich dudes. However, their stuff is sealed for like 50 years, and she's in prison. Okay, So you see how it works. So the Earn It Act is going to be the exact same thing. It's going to be for the children, but we're going to attack 230. I'm okay with them attacking big tech. Now, I don't think they need to attack them in that way. They need to say, hey, you need to take a line. Are you a content? Do you create content? Do you curate content? Or are you a platform? If you're a platform, you cannot play God. And if you're a content curator, like news outlets and other media organizations, you're responsible for the content you put out there. But these companies for too long have said, oh, I'm not responsible. Well, frankly, they've gone almost too responsible. Too much deplatforming, too much removing of people's content. Now, there's some good content that probably breaks the law, so it's in question whether or not they could or should remove it. I get that. And it is their platform. Sure. Whether we're talking YouTube or Odyssey or Rumble or Twitter, I don't know why anybody would use Twitter at this point, or Gab, or we saw what happened with Parler. You see Getter going on right now. You see all these different platforms, right? Regardless of what type of platform, it's a serious issue. It is a serious issue, and they're kind of eating their own and deplatforming each other. And now big tech is reaching out to people saying, this is something you should fight back against because it's going to start affecting you. When big tech was leading the charge on this, they didn't care about the people. Now they want the people's help, because now the same people who helped them railroad people are now going to railroad them. But the irony is it affects everyone at this point, literally everyone. So when you see these acts and you see these things go against privacy, now obviously at Privacy Acts we believe privacy is a right and it's right that needs to be protected. If you don't protect it, I don't protect it. You can bet that the big governments and the big corporations will not protect it. However, we're in a situation where we keep seeing these bills get pushed in, whether it's the Build Back Better bill, whether it's the Earn It bill, that are attacking crypto. They're attacking privacy. They're attacking freedom. They're attacking your digital life in the pursuit of, we've seen this in the United States all the way back into September 11, 2001. And then what preceded was obviously all of the terrorism threats and all the things that were going on. And so they said, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to create the Patriot Act. Yeah. Had nothing to do with Patriots, had nothing to do with anything good, and they still renew it. Every single president keeps renewing it because it's supposed to be temporary. And it's the same thing with this. You can't have encryption, you can't have freedom, you can't have privacy, you can't control your own content, you can't do anything on your own without big government and big corporation. And now there are some of the biggest corporations looking at getting swallowed up by this as well, because the power-hungry governments that have seen absolute dictator level power in places like Canada, in places like Australia for sure, and even in some cities in the United States, of all places all across Europe. And so now they're trying to eat their own, and that's where we're at with things like the Earn It Act and this bill. And I recommend you read it. I recommend you check it out. It's going to lockstep and go side by side with the United States has the Voting Rights Act, which is a pile of garbage. And then it's got the BBB bill, which is also a pile of garbage. We had the infrastructure bill, which is like 90% not infrastructure. The $1 trillion and less than $100 billion is even going to end up in infrastructure after it's all said and done. They keep pumping this stuff through. It's like funding the mafia at this point. So I've been asked a lot about the Earn It Act. You got to do what you feel is right, but I recommend standing up. And this is the thing, guys. The movement what the truckers did is inspiring. And while people who invest in crypto don't have semi-trucks, people who invest in crypto should at bare minimum create a digital movement. And I've had a handful of people reach out to me about them. And will I support it? And a bunch of other like big influencers, will they support it? I absolutely will. I'll support it financially. I'll support it. I'll go out for a movement. Of course, the problem is we can't get anybody to do anything until it's too late. It's the same thing with encryption. It's the same thing with them trying to attack the internet as a whole. They're trying to do the internet transparency bill. They're trying to do all these things. None of them add any value. All of them hurt everyone but a few politicians. So we got to move forward in taking a stand together. all countries, all people, because do you realize it's only about 10,000 people that at this point are destroying the lives of billions? Like, it makes no sense. And people are standing for it, and people are finally starting to stand up after 2 years. But at some regard, it's almost too little too late. And we almost need to make them give in and then keep going much longer like they did to let them understand. Because the fear now with everyone letting their foot off the gas is as soon as we say, cool, we got what we want, in 3 months or 6 months, they just do it again and think, well, these idiots will give us 2 more years. So we need to make sure that we're starting to stand up for these freedoms on the internet and on crypto, because the fact is, this is really your gateway to freedom, something that can't be taken from you if you structure the internet properly and you structure crypto properly. If these big governments end up with a stranglehold on the internet and on crypto, there's just slavery left. It's going to be a world of slavery, period. If the governments get a full, like, they have already too much control on the internet and on crypto, but it's like 10%. If they get a real stranglehold on the internet and a real stranglehold, what they have now is a stranglehold on big tech, big companies. The dark web is still a huge part of the internet, and they're scared to death of the dark web. What they bank on is most people don't use the dark web, but the dark web is still massive. And even the traditional web, I mean, like 90% of all web traffic is less than 100 websites and apps. Like 90%. So they can control the bulk that way. But if you start to branch out with your own thing, there's a lot you can do. So look into these acts, look into these bills, the Earn It Act, the Build Back Better, and understand that all these things are set up to destroy your life, your freedom, your privacy, your security, prosperity in your future, regardless of where you are. Check these out. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you're taking a stand, if you're taking a movement, or you're just giving in to big governments. Because it seems like most people are just giving in. And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, because the people who are making 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year, 40 grand a year, 70 grand a year, you're the people who are going to get destroyed. That's most people. That's most people. It's that age-old thing. I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you. And that's what's happening right now. And it's going to leave 200-300 million people in America ruined. It's going to leave billions of people in Europe and Asia and Africa and Australia ruined. And it's going to make a couple thousand people more successful than their wildest dreams. And that's where we're headed. So I recommend you look into this stuff. I recommend you take a stand, fight for freedom, fight for privacy, fight for your security, fight for your future. And if it's really about the kids, you'd be fighting for your kids' future, in my opinion, as somebody who actually has kids. I've seen a lot of people out here pandering about kids, don't even have kids. Anyway, have an amazing day, guys. Go all in. Take action. That's the most important thing you can do. Make your voice count. Make your voice heard. I'll see you guys in the next video.